All right, welcome in. It is Thursday. It's time for Total Bases. Let's go around the horn before we get into it. I'll go last. To Tokyo Brandon, how was your Wednesday night?
Oh, sorry.
That's you. Last I checked, Tokyo Brandon was you. We want to know how your Wednesday night was.
Yeah, a little too much Jack Daniels. I went 3-0 yesterday, so that was good. I was on the same play. Bryan had his 5% on, which was Washington. Man, that Griffin, he's good, man.
He's good.
He's good, and nobody knows it yet. So we'll keep betting him until they find out. I went 3-0 in MLB, and my 5% KBO play is 7-0 in the ninth inning. So hopefully that comes through as well. So feeling good.
Bryan, if you bought the double play yesterday, you essentially got a Beltway 2-pack for the 5%ers. And Bryan was on the right end, the right side of the sort of DMV metro area, of course. So yeah, the Nats get there. That was your 5%. How else did you have anything else for Wednesday?
Yeah, I also had Tampa Bay. They win in a shutout. They are very good at home against divisional rivals. Problem is today's line might be a little bit high, but yeah, another 2-0 at 3-0 the day before, 37-13. So 74% winners. Obviously, percentage doesn't mean as much in baseball, obviously, baseball and hockey, but still in the top three last 7 days, last 3 days, last 30 days, number one overall. So yeah, once again, can't complain. If you're looking for baseball handicappers that are hot, we've all done very well.
Yeah. So in the chat, this is an Orioles hat. That was I didn't realize Bryan was on the Nats. Like I said, jokingly, I was on the wrong side of the, of town. Of course, the Orioles failed to get there. I did go 2-1 overall yesterday, so didn't lose any ground. Basically, two smaller plays that offset the 5% loss. And the reason I wanted to go last was not to put off having to come on here and talk about the fact that I lost my 5% play, but I want to open the show and give you guys a client play. I'm going right back to the well. I'm on the Orioles again today. I already hate myself for it. This team pisses me off, Bryan. They should be better than they are. The reason that they're not, little things, right? Like the thing that bothers me about this team is the fact that their relievers they don't want to throw strikes. It's like there was a couple times, if you watch the game last night, where the game was not out of hand. I mean, we're in like a 4-3 game late, and they turned an inning that, listen, if the Cubs earn it, and they were earning it, they were hitting the ball out of the ballpark, but if they really earn it, fine. But I have seen the Orioles so many times have an 0-2 count with one of their relievers, and then they nibble their way back to a walk. They nibble their way back to 3-2, and suddenly the guy's on base. And listen, again, do I think that I was on the right side last night? Well, not really, because I thought they would have done more damage off of Colin Rea, and I thought Dean Creamer maybe would have. I didn't think he actually pitched bad. He just got nipped by the long ball 4 times, but they were all solo homers. But Bryan, I feel like if I'm getting 7 runs on 14 hits from the Orioles, kind of felt like I should have won that game. Again, it's 9-7. It goes the other way. But I'm coming back with the Orioles today. That's my parlay leg. It's a 4% play for my clients. I'll get your guys' opinion first, but I am on the Orioles here. Bryan, what do you think about that?
Yeah, we're getting a couple of lefties. Peterson against Rogers. Baltimore's about a 127 favorite. Total of 10 to the under. They're expecting some runs here. I wanted to play Chicago because Peterson got blown up last time he pitched. He's better than that, but he's not having his greatest season. The Mets let him go. It tells you how it's gone for him. But going to Chicago, at least you got a chance to fight for the playoffs here. Rogers is a guy that I'm just flummoxed with. Every time I give up on Rogers, he comes out and pitches well. He's much better at home, I believe, than he is on the road. 10 runs seems to be awful high here with a couple of lefties. I don't know. Maybe if I'm playing, I'm looking at the under. But yeah, usually when I lose a big play, the next day the team really comes out and plays well. I'm a day early. maybe you're a day early on this one. I can't bet Rogers because I just don't know the Rogers I'm going to get, although he's been pretty good lately. And the spot screams that Peterson's going to have a good start, but the line tells you they don't expect it, and I don't trust them. So good luck to you, but I don't have anything to add on this one, really.
Tokyo Brandon, Mark Lambert says Cubs are hot. I wouldn't bet against them. Yeah, they are hot. That is true. But this sort of is this is the finale. This is the avoid the sweep spot. Am I avoiding the sweep with the Orioles today?
If on my Twitter X, I put up my pitcher matchup rankings, and Peterson tops that ranking. So a lot of things going, kind of canceling each other out. Peterson, like Bryan mentioned, had a bad game last time. Usually pitchers bounce back, but those are usually the elite pitchers. And another caveat is those numbers that I put up on the starters, their matchup rankings, I can't divide a date for that. So that could have been 4 years ago where he was good. So take it with a grain of salt. I mean, it is important to know that against these batters, he has been good. Trevor Rogers has been pitching pretty good too. Not elite level, but I don't think I don't think the Mets are, I'm sorry. I don't think the Cubs, I mean, they're a good team. They're good hitters. Trevor Rogers has pretty good numbers against them as well. So numbers. I think the Orioles will avoid a sweep here. The Orioles have the much better bullpen in current form right now. Number 4, Cubs number 22. And my numbers really don't like Peterson despite his past success against these batters. So yeah, I think that's enough for me to think the Orioles are going to salvage at least one win in this series. So I would probably take them.
It's such a big game for the Orioles. If you look at sort of where they're at in the pecking order and like what these next couple weeks mean to them, they just can't get swept here, and they really need to have a decent homestand. They got the Royals coming in over the weekend. It is a huge game for them. I thought last night was a huge game for them, and they really, something I do like about what they did last night. I guess we'll work backwards here for a second for my handicap. They got after the Cubs bullpen. They answered back after they went down 9-3. If that hit gets up the middle, Gunnar Henderson hits a bullet. Dansby Swanson makes a great play on it to end the inning. If that gets up the middle, it's 9-8, and they have the tying run on base. And the batter before, Holiday got to second, missed a home run by a couple inches. Now the Cubs use some of those better bullpen arms to get out of the couple jams and close out the game yesterday. So the Cubs bullpen won't be – so two things from the bullpen. They won't have as good of a sort of compilation of arms today, and I just don't think the Orioles are like scared of facing Cubs relievers at this point. And then we'll work back to the starters. Yeah, David Peterson had a bad game. David Peterson has had a bad season. There hasn't been many good ones. There really hasn't been many good games this year for David Peterson. He comes in with a ERA close to 7, a 1.67 WHIP, all of his underlying metrics, bottom 10% in the league in expected batting average. He's just not very good. So, the Orioles have struggled against left-handed pitching, but this is a bad left-handed pitcher. And then you look at Trevor Rogers and you're just like, did last year happen? Or is it like, it's crazy to think that this was a guy that in 2024 was totally lost, looked like he was totally done at one point in time, comes back out, has a sub-2 ERA last year with it like an insane season after spending some time in the minors, and this year has been what he's been. But like, I still think there is some upside there. He's still getting like a decent amount of swing and miss. Again, I joke, like I'm already annoyed and the game hasn't even started yet. That's just how I feel about Orioles baseball. I think I'm on the right side here. I think the Orioles are going to avoid the sweep. I went a little longer on this one because this is a 4% play for my clients. And instead of selling it, I decided to just give it out to you guys here on the show for free. It will also kick off our 3-team parlay today. So Bryan, am I still, I played this minus 125 for clients. Has it moved a little bit?
Yeah, there's, you can actually get as low as 123 out there now. It has gone down a little bit. I said I quoted 127 earlier. Mm-hmm. That's pretty close. Yeah, it's you can get better, but there's also some 130s out there.
Yeah, we'll call it 127. Again, I think, shop around, of course, for the sake of the parlay, we will call it 127. And we're off to a hot start here on Thursday. We already gave out a 4% client play. We kicked off the parlay. I don't have anything up for sale yet because I just gave it to you. So I'll let the other boys promo. Tokyo Brandon, do you have anything up on the website?
Yeah, I do. I have a few MLB plays that I put up, a couple that I really like. And you can get a double play 2 of your 3 hottest handicappers on the planet. That would be us 3, especially Bryan. He's tearing it up right now. I went 3-0 last night, so we're all doing pretty good right now. 2 of us 3 days, huge discount. But yeah, I do have a couple plays up.
All right, let's keep it moving. Let's go to the chat. Okay, this is this is a good one. This is actually one I have another early game I kind of have an opinion on. And if I have an opinion on the Cleveland Guardians, I'm not going to have that opinion until I hear what Bryan Leonard has to say about his Guardians. Unfortunate loss for them last night. I kind of liked them a little bit yesterday. Laid off. Kind of felt like they let that one slip away, Bryan. Had a couple of different leads and end up losing 6-5 to the Twins. Do you think your Guardians bounce back here?
Yeah, I do. And about half the games today are on the day card. I was debating on what I was going to use for the parlay, but since we're talking about this game, I will use Cleveland in this game. They are basically about a 125 favorite. Let's go 126 is my parlay leg here. They got Williams going against Ober, and Ober's pitched better lately than he had in the past. Williams is the one guy on this team that, since he's cut back on his walks, he can go longer in games, and that's important for this Cleveland bullpen. They fell apart yesterday. Walks like crazy at the end of that game. Guys that have been really good all season long just couldn't hit the strike zone. And Sobrowski, I believe, walked 3 or 4 straight guys, but they didn't have anybody ready in the bullpen. Sobrowski is great. The guy's terrific, and he just could not find it yesterday. And the rest of the bullpen struggled. Other than the closer who came in when the game was tied, he was great again. The rest of them struggled, but Cleveland's got a really good bullpen. I would expect them to bounce back a little bit here. Cleveland, you touched on teams trying to avoid the sweep. Minnesota's won 4 straight games. Cleveland's lost 4 straight games. Cleveland, for the most part, has been really good at limiting long losing streaks. They've done that for years. I think it's because their starting pitching staff is so talented. You're always going to get somebody out there that's going to pitch a good game. I think we're going to get a good game here out of Williams, and we're laying, like I said, about 126, 120. We get as low as 124, as high as 130 out there right now. I like Cleveland in this game. I'm still not enamored with the hitting of this team. They just don't have very good hitters, but they're able to be a better offensive team than what I thought they would be when all this happened. They did get their outfielder back. He was very good yesterday, the rookie. So, Minnesota, they're playing pretty good ball. I just still think Cleveland is probably the better team here, and you're getting them on a losing streak. And I like them. You're laying a decent number. There's a reason why Cleveland has been installed as the road favorite here, despite the losing streaks, despite Cleveland's batting. A lot of times the lines maker will tell you what the right side of a game is. I believe he's telling us the right side is Cleveland here.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to have Bailey Ober for the Twins. I watched a little bit of his rehab start in St. Paul last week. He has not pitched in the big leagues since May 30th. So right there, I mean, Gavin Williams is already the better of those two. And now you get Ober kind of coming back from an injury. Tokyo Brandon, Guardians, Twins to you. How are you seeing this one?
Yeah, Gavin Williams having a pretty good season. He was on my chronic walker list last season, but this season he's kind of pulling it together. doing pretty good, actually. And this is the tightest matchup of all the matchups today, according to my numbers. These two teams are like neck and neck tight. I do have the Guardians with the better bullpen and the better starter, but the Twins have the better hitting. However, in my opinion, generally speaking, pitching trumps hitting when all things are equal. I mean, you can have an elite lineup and an elite pitcher. Usually, in my experience, the elite pitcher wins that matchup. You know, it's really hard to hit a baseball, guys. It's the hardest thing to do in sports. I think Cleveland avoids the sweep here. I don't know if I'm going to take them or not, but I don't think they're going to get swept. And I think Williams is the better pitcher, the better bullpen. If you got the better pitcher, the better bullpen, and you're desperate to salvage one win in a 3-game series, I think you'll come through with it in most cases.
Before I just decided to be like an all-time nice guy and give my 4%er away instead of selling it this afternoon, I was going to use the Guardians for my parlay leg on the show. So I'm glad Bryan used that because this was going to be the way I was going to go if I didn't use the Orioles. Something I had to pull the numbers up just so I didn't make sure I didn't misspeak. But yeah, I watched some of Ober's start against the Buffalo Bisons last week. That was his rehab start at AAA. He got knocked around a little bit, and he had one prior to that. I think Cedar Rapids is like a high A, and he got knocked around there. So again, you can't when a veteran guy goes and has a little bit of a rehab outing, typically not too worried about the results and stuff like that, but 13 hits and 8 and a third innings of rehab is not great. I guess the nice takeaway there is he didn't walk anyone, so he probably feels like he's got the command, so on and so forth. But the point I'm trying to make here is even on Bailey Ober's best day, he's not better than Gavin Williams. So like now you throw the uncertainty of like, okay, he's getting his first big league action since May 30th. Neither of his rehab starts were overly impressive, but even Bailey Ober at his best is not a better pitcher than Gavin Williams. So why would I not want to take a shot with Gavin Williams right here and in the desperation spot of like trying to avoid a sweep against a division rival that suddenly is on your tail? 3 weeks ago, the Twins were nowhere near the Guardians in the standings. Now they're right there neck and neck. Feels like a big spot for the Guards too. I think they get it done.
They need it.
Yeah, they do, and this is the type of game where you got a guy like Gavin Williams who I think at this point kind of he is the ace on that team. Like these are the types of games that guy goes out and typically pitches well and wins. Yeah. So I hope for your case, Bryan, as a Guardians fan and backer today, that they do just that for you.
Yeah, if you take a look at the Fangraphs ratings on the season, Ober's 113 and Williams is 25, Messick is 20. So Cleveland's got much better starting pitching when you take a look at the two teams. And yeah, you mentioned coming off the IL. Yeah, it's a big difference between a veteran pitcher just trying to get back. So yeah, I wouldn't pay too much attention to that, but it is something to keep in mind in your handicapping.
Yeah, and again, I'll just say I don't think on Bailey Ober's best day that he's better than Gavin Williams. So that was kind of the point I was trying to make right there. You guys are finding all the games I have opinions about. Because if I didn't use the Orioles and the Guardians, I might have used this one. So Bryan, Leonard, I'm coming back to you because the chat is always asking for underdogs, always wants a good underdog. And Alex Rand says the Tigers are hot, but do the A's avoid the sweep? Well, I don't know, but I do think the A's are value here. So talk to me, Tigers, A's. How are you seeing this one?
I do agree with that. And if people have just followed me lately, they see I've been playing more favorites than underdogs because there hasn't been a lot of, in my opinion, there hasn't been a lot of underdog value out there. But I do. This is one game. There's a couple of games that I thought there was some value for the dogs. This is one game that I thought have some value. Valdez is the lefty. The Athletics, say what you want about them. For a couple of years now, they've really raked against lefties. They've hit lefties well. Valdez is a guy who is, he's having a down season for Detroit. I was excited when they signed him in the offseason and not excited for what he does in the locker room, as he's not known to be a good influence, but he is a good steady pitcher, a good innings eater, and he's been that way for his entire career. Perkins is the guy that has the higher upside going forward. And I like the Athletics a little bit here. Detroit, I mentioned it, 3 weeks ago or something, that don't count out the Tigers. Tigers are hot right now. They're only 4 games out of first place. I said at the time, I said, if you can get the Tigers to win the division, it would be a pretty good bet. And I still think the Tigers will end up the season winning this division. I think they're better than Cleveland is. I think they're better than the White Sox are. White Sox are having some regression, although I like the way this team, the White Sox, are looking for the future. Next year, the White Sox will probably be the favorite in this division. But the Athletics have not been playing well right now. They're an afterthought, and they need to get a victory. And I think you're catching upwards of 124 here. There's a few of them out there, but for the most part, to catch a 115, I think that, here we go. I just came up over the Odds Logic site that Suarez is now the starting pitcher for the Athletics. And without knowing how long he's going to go, I didn't get stuck playing the Athletics because they had a pitching change. So if he's just a starter and he's going to pitch an inning or two, an opener, then I'm still interested in it. But without that information right now, I better shut up.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to find that out as we're on the show. I was really not expecting that because Perkins has been good for them. He's been starting games, so I didn't really expect them to put an opener in front of him. That's interesting. I wonder. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Now, his last start was not great. He kind of got blown up in his last start, and we'll get Tokyo Brandon in here. Jack Perkins, last time we saw him, destroyed by the Marlins. 7 runs in 3 2/3. It was kind of bombed in that game. So maybe they put it, because Suarez is a bullpen guy. So they might be putting someone in front of him. But yeah, that does throw a wrinkle into the mix. Any thoughts? I guess now that you know that, TB, any thoughts? And then we'll go back to Bryan.
Yeah, my numbers don't like Valdez, but he's one of those guys, when I bet against him, he comes out and throws 7 innings of no hit ball. But my numbers really don't like him. Hitting wise, I got both of these teams pretty even in current form. The A's bullpen's playing real bad, but I think they salvage one game here. I actually put a free play out on WagerTalk.com earlier. It was the A's plus 1.5. So this, out of the matchups today, if there's a live dog, I would agree that it's the A's here. And I think Suarez is going to pitch 1 inning, and then Perkins is.
You're right. He is the opener. I just confirmed it. He's going to open this game. So yeah,
I did too. And it makes a lot of sense. I know TB doesn't like openers, but it makes a lot of sense here because your normal lineup for the Tigers, 5 of your first 6 guys are left-handed batters. They do it a lot with getting Kerry Carpenter out there. So what the Tigers will likely do, if he pitches 2 innings, let's just say 2 innings, he can avoid Kerry Carpenter, and they'd have to use Jamal Jones or Mel Gary to start the game, and that leaves later on in the game. It helps out your right-handers in the bullpen, your left-handers in the bullpen. Because you can match up better. So it's a smart move by the A's. They don't normally, not that they don't make smart moves. But this looks like it will be a smart move in this game. So yeah, I'm back on the A's. I think have him in for an inning or two screws up that Detroit lineup because they're so much better against lefties. Certain power guys especially.
Got into a little bit of a. I always chuckle when people call, there's a Tigers fan on Twitter that's like, it's like, I don't care about any of your teams. Like that's the beauty of being a bettor and not being a fan. Like I don't care about the Tigers. So it's nothing personal. I just think they're overvalued right now. I said this the other day. I think they've been overvalued this whole series, but Skubal, obviously that's a whole different ball game when he's pitching good. Like some of the pitchers, they had Melton last night. Like, Here's my thing with Valdez. 2 things that are pro A's points here. One, you named some names off, Brian. This still isn't a great Tigers lineup. Like once you get outside like their big 3 or 4, I see a lot of like 600 OPSs. I see a lot of guys that, Toledo Mud Hens-esque players that are like kind of being forced into this lineup right now. Malgary, Jones, if they put the backup catcher in, like that was, he was in a game the other night. So it's like, it's not a great, I know they've been much better since June 1st, but one of the guys that made them better in June, Gleyber Torres, has been out. So it's like, to me, it's not this great lineup. I don't really care for Framber Valdez at this point. Like there are a lot of concerning things when it comes to him. He's not getting swing and miss. He gives up a lot of hard hit. You don't want to do that to the A's, Brian. This A's team can rake. It's not a good profile against the A's.
Yeah. If you take a look at the current starting 5 for the Detroit Tigers, you'd be hard-pressed to find anybody that's not better than Framber Valdez. He was signed and he brought in as a number 2 behind Skubal. I would, with Skubal, Melton, Flaherty, and Mize, I would rank Framber Valdez number 5. His Flaherty's pitching a lot better. He just had terrible luck earlier in the season. And Mize has been terrific since they brought him back. Melton's been terrific. So to me, he's the number 5 starter right now. And you're laying the favorite with the number 5 starter. So yeah, I think the A's are in a pretty good shape today.
Yeah, and one final thing, if you can get over the blow up against the Marlins, like Jackson Perkins, really good swing and miss. His stuff is great. And he's another one, big 96, 97 mile an hour fastball, but he throws like 4 pitches off it. I actually think this guy is going to be pretty good. This is a guy that I think you want to be patient with. If you're a bettor, look for spots to play on him. Yes, he's young. Yeah, he had a blow up against the Marlins. Team's hotter than anyone on planet Earth right now. We'll give him a pass there. I kind of think he comes out and pitches well. All right, let's go back to the chat. Freebird coming in with a big donation, so we got to shout him out. Much appreciated. Again, all the donations go to charity, a spot decided by our home office. They work with a bunch of good organizations when it comes to donating money, and we donate everything that goes into any of these shows through the YouTube channel gets donated. So Freebird, much appreciated. Tokyo Brandon, I'm coming to you. He wants to talk team total over, specifically Royals Mets. If you get a game like you got 2 nights ago, all your overs are going to hit. Yep. That was incredible. Beer league softball game going on there. That was 2 nights ago in this series. But we're talking about today's game. So Royals Mets, Freebird says overs in game, both pitchers OPS 900 per TB PM. So I think he's talking about you, Tokyo Brandon. Kick us off. Yep. Royals Mets, how are you seeing it?
Yeah, he's looking at my list on my Twitter X, Tokyo Underbar Brandon. They do have numbers over 900. So I'll just give you some quick advice. Don't base a bet totally on that. That should be kind of like the clinching final, factor. You shouldn't base a bet purely on that, because some of these numbers could go back a few years. However, it is an indication that the pitcher could struggle against these guys. It's not the tell-all, so be careful, guys. But if I were to bet either team total here, I kind of like the Royals team total here over. If you really want to bet an over, because Royals bats are picking up a little bit. I think last 5. Right now I got them ranked 17, so they're moving up. The Mets bullpen was ranked top 5. They've dropped down to mediocre level, 17-ish. But I like Waka better than Minaya, and Minaya's numbers against these Royal batters are bad. Bobby Witt's back. I like the Royals team total better than I like the Mets team total in this particular game. So if you were going to bet that, that's how I would recommend doing it.
Yeah, you could also just go over. I mean, these
game
are both.
If it's an 8,
it's only 9. It's only 9, which is like my project. I think I just have to. I tweak things like by like tenths of a point, but like my general projection here came out 9.3, so it's not going to stray that far from that. So I'm slightly over. And then Brian, like on these 2 offenses, I would say that both of these offenses are probably more likely to take a step forward in the coming sort of weeks and months than they are like to be as bad as they were, I guess, coming into this series. Of course, skewed a little bit now offensively by the 30-run game the other day. But like still, I kind of think the Royals and Mets both hit better going forward than they have to this point in the season. I don't really care for either of these pitchers either. Why not an over 9 here, Brian?
I think that's the way to look in this one. There's one game, and this is the game that's probably going to have some weather concerns. So if the game has weather concerns, you could see some stop and goes. And a lot of times that they bring in a starter, it's more of a concern for Kansas City with Walker in there. They'll bring in a starter to start the game, and then you could have, an hour rain delay. They won't bring the starter back out again, which means we get more of the bullpens for these two. And although Devin Williams and Luke Weaver have had the last 2 days off, other than that, the bullpens have been concerning. Obviously, we're always concerned about the bullpen when we're looking at the road team here, because Kansas City's bullpen is really bad. And the more bullpen arms out there today, the better chances you got to hit the over. So yeah, I'm in agreement. It is a day game. There's a lot of day games today, and it could be a while till that game finishes if they do get the rain that is supposed to come in. But yeah, I would have no problem playing the over. I have had no problem playing. I believe you can get plus money on if Kansas City scores 5 runs here. That's not a bad deal because Manaea has not been overly impressive so far. So yeah, the over would be the way that I would play this. I'm even seeing some 9.5s out there now to the under.
Ooh.
So yeah, the 9 to the over looks to be a pretty popular bet.
Yeah, I'm actually at 9.4. So if you want my score projection, I'm at 9.4 runs in this game. If you can grab one of those over 9s that are still there, I really like that. I also see, is that wind blowing out? Am I seeing wind blowing out at Citi Field today? Typically not going to be totally affected by the wind in that ballpark, but there is some weather.
Yeah, it's supposed to be decently hot with the wind blowing out, but this is still a very good pitcher's park. So when the wind blowing out is not as bad as it is in like Oracle Park. The wind's always blowing out in Oracle Park and they still can't hit home runs, but this is a good pitcher's park. So yeah, you got to take a look at that.
All right, let's go to here's one. I think this is another day game, but that's there's, like I said, there's quite a few day games today, so that's just kind of how it's gonna go. First of all, someone in the chat, someone says Adam wanted to apologize about being a jerk about the Rays last week. Listen, having an opinion that disagrees with mine is not being a jerk. Like, we're all good. That's the best part about this. I've said this a million times. This is the reason we are even allowed to bet, is because no one's opinions are the same. If everyone thought the same, they'd have to shut down the sports books. They wouldn't be able to book games. So it's the beauty of this is that everyone has a slightly different opinion. Tokyo Brandon, what were you going to say?
Quick comment about that. I respect a person who gives me their opinion before the game. I completely do not respect you if you give your opinion after the game. So give me all your opinions before the game. I am open-minded and I will listen, and I respect you for that. But after the game, oh, you suck. They picked the Pirates, man. That's just high school stuff. So that's how I feel. Yeah, if you give me your opinion before the game, man, I will listen.
100%. Yeah. That's true. Right. Once the game's over, it's like, I don't know. Man. I wish I could pick all the games after they already ended. I'd be doing pretty good. Yeah.
We all have ESPN, guys. We know who got destroyed and we know who won.
but the Rays discussion is super interesting, and we'll talk about it. TB, I'm going to come back to you. We'll talk about it in the context of this Rays-Yankees game this afternoon, because two things can be true at once. The Rays have been a little lucky. They probably are a little bit overvalued at times, but they're also a really good baseball team. Like, I think all of those things are true. So, and then another thing I think is true here is something that Bryan sort of alluded to right at the top of the show. I think they're kind of overvalued today. It doesn't mean I don't like Rasmussen. So Stokes has Rasmussen over 6.5 strikeouts on a bounce back. Like, again, I don't know. What you'll kick us off your TV, Rays, Yankees. Do you think the Rays are overvalued? And where do you have Rasmussen strikeouts at?
Oh, okay. Give me a minute for that one, but I honestly do not think they're overrated today. I think they're right where they should be. Man, these New York Yankees cannot hit. Rasmussen is striking out 9.1 per 9, and the Yankees are striking out at a rate of 10.6 per 9. So I have Rasmussen's strikeouts at 6.7. So that's where I got it. But I think the Rays are just a better team, period, hands down. And this Yankee team can't hit. They can't field. The one good thing they got going for them is sometimes they put good pitchers on the mound, but today they don't even have their starter listed. It's going to be a guy with a weird name, right? It's,
Elmer Rodriguez, I believe.
Yeah, Elmer. That's right. I thought of glue or
He's
something.
the glue of that rotation.
Yeah. Good one, Brian. Hey, maybe we can get Adam to talk about his laptop later and see Brian go off.
Laptop's doing great. Listen, look at these. Look at this lighting right here. I told you I'd be back. Hey, that little TB though, that little piece. Oh, you just need a little adapter. That was like $70 at Best Buy. So I got hit with that little piece I needed. But yeah, we're back. We're back.
We can win it back. We can win it back with the parlay today. As a matter of fact, I'm going to make the Rays my parlay piece because look, they just hit better. They pitch better and they field better. So in that case, Rasmussen has great numbers against these hitters in his career. And when the Yankees are putting up some guy who's named after a bottle of glue, give me the Rays any day in that situation at home. Great home team. And like you said, they're not exactly, I don't think they're lucky. I think they're just small ball because it's so funny because the Rays, when you compare teams together, that they hit less home runs and they have less OPS than every team they're playing, but they have more hits, more runs and more walks, they're just a well put together. I don't know if it's lucky or not. I mean, I know both of you think that they're lucky, but I don't know, man. I think they're just a well put together team that doesn't have much power, but they do have one guy who's got a lot of power. So that's how I look at it.
Listen, I'm not going to let Elmer get totally slandered here. Like he's a good prospect, and he's been one of the better pitchers at AAA this year.
A prospect.
You know, he's 22 years old. He's 22 years old. Give him. He's probably coming at some point. Like in the context of like this is not the Phillies yesterday who are just calling up some bum. Okay, and it ended up being it wasn't the guy I thought it was, but it ended up being Rangel, and he got crushed. Right. This isn't some like journeyman AAA bum. Like this is a 22-year-old fourth rounder that's been one of the best pitchers in minor league baseball or at the AAA level this year. That's averaging a strikeout per inning and has a 1.29 WHIP, and he's had a cup of coffee in the big leagues, and it hasn't been that bad. So I don't mind him, but I will
better than Rasmussen.
Well, that's the thing. He's not better than Rasmussen, and I'll go to your point where it's like, the Yankees, their lineup leaves a little bit to desired, and then Brian, I'll kick this over to you. I've been saying it pretty much every time the Yankees come up for the last month plus. Without Aaron Judge, this is a 440 win percentage team this year and for the last 5 years. It's just hard to get behind this Yankees team, but now they are starting to get a little bit, they are a dog at this point. Still, it's hard to get behind this Yankees team.
When I said that I thought Tampa Bay's line was a little high, I didn't realize Elmer Rodriguez was going to be on mine. I thought it was going to be a bullpen game for the Yankees. Maybe he is. And I know that he is one of their higher prospect guys, but he has not done anything in the pros. My projections, somebody asked before about strikeout minus walk ratio. I always want guys that are at 2-1 or better. Elmer Rodriguez, from my stats in this game, is expected to strike out 3.6 and walk 2.2. That's not 2-1 to better, 2-1. And he has really struggled with his control in the major leagues. Overall, a 43.1% ball rate. Now, a lot of times the ball rate does not equal to his walk rate, but his does. He's walking 13.3% of the batters he faces. And if you take a look at him against lefties, 17.9% of the lefty batters he walks, 47.1% walk or a ball rate. Nobody else in Major League Baseball is higher than like 39. He's at 47.1. Granted, limited innings. He hasn't pitched that many innings. But you're not going to find a bigger pitching advantage from the starting pitchers today. Rasmussen is I really love Rasmussen. The only thing is with Rasmussen, they don't let him throw a lot of pitches. On his last three, he's thrown 88 pitches. Last time out, he only threw 77. Now he's been great, but your problem you have with him, if you're betting the over, like my number says about 6.5 strikeouts. The problem you have when you're betting on the over is he's only going to go 5 innings probably. He may go 6, but most of the time he'll go 5 innings. So it's not because he's good, it's because they pull him early. And that's my only concern about betting his strikeout totals over. But Tampa Bay at home is great against divisional rivals. And, it was 165 when I was looking at it earlier. Now I'm seeing a lot of the places that I look at that are the sharper books are coming out at like 155 now. So that may be enough to get me somewhat interested in Tampa Bay, and I can back TB in this bet. I think he's got a pretty good bet here, and Yankees team right now is really struggling.
And I'm glad the Yankees won Game 1. So this is a rubber match. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this will actually be this would be the Rays took the last 2. Yankees won opening night of the series. Yeah, I will say this: the Yankees are doing something.
Game 2. Yeah.
So this is the 4th game of a 4-game set, and the Rays have won the last 2 nights. But the Yankees are doing something with this kid that I don't like when teams do this with young prospects where they sort of yo-yo them. Like that should be something you do with a guy that's been around for a little bit. When you got a 4th rounder, 22-year-old kid, that kid should be in AAA until you're ready to call him up and give him like 5 starts at the big league level. The reason I bring it up is I think his numbers could be a little bit watered down because it was like start, go back to Scranton, spot start, back to Scranton. That's something you do to the guy that's been around for 10 years and has cups of coffee in the big leagues, like not the prospect. But again, that's what they're doing to him right now. It probably doesn't end well. So I think for your Rays bet, I think you're probably on the right side. Bryan, what was the line on that? What was the line on Rays right there?
Right now, we're looking at about a 155.
Yeah, 55.
Yeah,
and,
that's
it's like death by paper cut by 1,000 paper cuts. These Rays, they get on base, and for a young pitcher, it just gets on your nerves. I think they'll get the better of him.
Yeah,
I'm not slandering him though.
if you're looking at percentages, a 150 favorite means that team's supposed to win 60% of the time. Does anybody think Tampa Bay is not going to win more than 60% of the time? So, yeah,
under these circumstances, certainly with Rasmussen.
So that's not a. I misspoke earlier because I didn't know who was starting for the Yankees. Yeah, I think that's a little bit of a value.
All right,
with all the errors too.
All right, so we've got the parlay locked in. We have hit a good number of day games on the today, but that's also because there's quite a bit of day games. So we're going to close this out. We got time for one more. I'm going to head to the chat and look for the first night game that someone has asked about, and we'll see who the winner is here. Let's see. First night game that I can see in the chat. All you guys wanted to know about day games. All right, here's the winner. The winner is the series that we've talked about all week. It's the Padres D-backs. 4th game. People want to talk about Merrill Kelly. People want to talk about the total. We've talked about this game every day this week, Bryan Leonard, and we're going to finish it up. 4-game set concludes tonight, Petco Park. You got Griffin Canning on the mound for the home team, and Merrill Kelly. We'll see if he continues to serve them up for the visitors. D-backs, Padres to you. How are you seeing this one?
I'm pleading ignorance for the guy who is in the YouTube talking about, where do we talk about the Padres? They stink. They talk about them every day. Well, if you're on the board, there's ways to make money, and it does't matter how they stink or whatever. But you got Kelly against Canning, 2 guys I'm a little bit concerned with from an offensive standpoint, which is why the total's at 9 here. They expect that to score, but look at Arizona. They're just not. There's 3 teams right now, I believe, tied in Major League Baseball for the worst WRC plus on the season. Cincinnati, Arizona, and San Diego. So getting that 9, although the pitchers stink, they're not very good. Getting a 9 in San Diego with 2 of the worst 3 offenses in baseball on the season is something to keep in mind. Canning's about a 120 favorite, 123 favorite maybe. Here against Kelly. Kelly had just not had it this year. He had a couple of starts that he looked pretty good, looked like he was coming out of it. I don't want to bet Arizona with Kelly. Canning's a guy that has had some better. He was expected to be a little bit better than what he is. So you got 2 teams that can't hit against 2 pitchers that can't get anybody out. That leaves me on the sideline, and this one I'll be passing.
TB, over to you. D-backs Padres.
Yeah. Man, the Padres look so bad compared to how much talent they have on their roster. It's really sad to see. So D-backs won the first game. Padres won the last 2. We got 2 unders and 1 over. This one looks like an over to me all the way, though. I don't like either one of these starters, although Canning has a little bit better numbers against the batters he's facing than Kelly does. Man, San Diego's bullpen just, I mean, considering the arms they have, I can't believe they're performing like this. But I got them ranked 29 out of 30 in current form. Doesn't mean that's what they are, but probably because they've been losing so many games, they're not using their best guys. But they have guys. It looks like San Diego to me, or the over in this one. Either way, I'm probably not going to bet it, but if I had to, I would either take San Diego or I would take an over in this one. By the way, get a double play. 2 of us, and we're all red hot. 2 of us 3 for 3 days. Huge discount, and we're all on a really good roll. So grab a double play at WagerTalk.com.
Yep, this is one on my radar for tonight. I like the Padres. If I get a bet, let's say the D-backs take some money today and knock this down a little bit, I'll definitely bet that. Yes, 2 bad pitchers, no question about it. However, I'm more inclined to forgive Canning for what he's done so far this year because he didn't have a spring. You know, this is a guy that his season didn't really start until May. That's tough sometimes, right? Like, you know, we've seen that where it's like, just he didn't really have a spring, then has to go try to do it in the minors or down at the complex. And like, again, his numbers aren't good, but you know, last time out, 1 run over 4 innings against the Dodgers. That's not terrible. The time before that, 2 runs over 4 1/3 against the Cubs. And something I've said this week, the Diamondbacks ranked dead last against right-handed pitching in WRC plus. And you know, if he can just keep them at bay a little bit, why would the Padres not be able to do something off Merrill Kelly, who has some of the worst stats and worst metrics of any pitcher, forget starting pitcher, any pitcher in Major League Baseball, one of the worst expected ERAs, 7.78, a 3.11 expected batting average against. He doesn't strike anyone out. He gives up the highest barrel rate in the league. He's been awful. So under those circumstances, I might be able to get the Padres at -120 or better to win this game at home. And then to go back to what Tokyo Brandon said, a lot of these guys should start to hit at some point. So yeah, I like the Padres here. And people are like, how do you bet this game? Like, it's pretty clear to me. I have no problem with a Padres bet. I think that's one of the best. I think that's one of the better moves you can make on the board today. So yeah, Padres is one I've got on my radar for later tonight. Tokyo Brandon, why don't you hit us with a promo? The people are sick of hearing me talk, so hit us with a promo.
You guys, Adam is the host, and he has to give his opinion, so it's only natural he's going to talk.
I mean, the literal point of the show is to talk, and people have a problem with it. But anyway,
he's going to talk about 20. He's going to talk about 20% more than us. You just have to accept it, or lobby to WagerTalk to make Bryan or I the host. But Bryan and I are too grumpy to be hosts, I think. So I get mad at the commenters, and Bryan gets mad at everybody. So I think Adam is the host for host.
I'll get mad at you and Adam.
So anyways, double play is one good one. You can take 2 of us for 3 days, and also the triple play, if you only like one of us, you can get 6 days for the price of 3. So those offers are all at wagertalk.com. There are other offers too, like between now and football kickoff, you can get a special. So go to wagertalk.com and see what we have up, because we are 3 of the best ones out there, and baseball is really all you have to bet right now. So That's the promo.
Well, you're going to have to go to the site and buy some plays if you want nighttime action, because I just realized our parlay is a day lay right here.
Yep.
It is all during the day. 3-teamer, all full game sides. We're going with the Rays for Tokyo Brandon -155, the Guardians for Bryan Leonard -126, and the Orioles for me -127. And for the crowd that says we don't give enough plays on the show, or we never give out our paid plays, that is not true, because Orioles is a 4% play for my clients. I didn't put it up for sale. I'm just giving it to you guys for free. So that is a 4% client play for me on the Orioles -127. And for the parlay, Orioles, Guardians, Rays, 3 full game sides. Head on over to the WagerTalk website. Check out those great specials that we have. Double play is up. Both of these guys have stuff up for sale that you can buy from them right now. I have nothing up for sale yet because I just gave it to you for free. I may have something later, so keep an eye on the website, and the 3 of us will see you in the morning for Bar Total Basis.